Hey Yagaho, English release confirmed, by the way. I didn't make a video about it because I figured, you know, if you've been following this game, then you probably already heard. But yeah, that's awesome to hear. It just means we're going to have even more Digimon content coming in the future, so that's awesome. As it is, we've got another round of the August 1st London Players Guild tournament where we're playing Taiga Tyrannos. And this is round 4, I believe, after taking a crushing defeat to Tessero because he was playing purple. And purple, you know, tends to be very, very, very good against anything that wants to pierce over stuff because vengeance and also just purple is kind of really good on its own. So anyway, here we are against Nytrex and his Ulforce deck, and we got a pretty decent start for ourselves here. Had a Taiga in the opening hand, so I don't want to use that Tamer Search Agumon to go fetch another one, rather just draw into other cards. Gets a Gabumon into the jamming Veedramon, and then see what he's going to do with his Vulcan's Hammer here, and actually going to drop the Vmon, which is a cost of 3, so it doesn't get to play any additional cards by virtue of that Vulcan's Hammer, and actually doesn't really affect my game plans at all, as I'll be able to Digivolve into this Dark Tyrannomon that I top decked for the turn, I believe, by resting my Taiga. So free evolution there, such great value. Got an 8,000 DP Piercer out here ready to go, and this is definitely, I think, the time to go ahead and beat stick and see what we can swing over in security. It's going to be a Monzemon, which would normally tie with Dark Tyrannomon, but because of Babymon, I get an extra 2,000 DP as the Taiga does confer piercing to all of my Tyrannomons. So really cool. We're going to proceed to drop in probably the Quartermon here. Seems like the best thing to hard drop, as I want to, you know, get that Tyrannomon evolved to take further advantage of my Taiga, and we'll also just potentially prevent that Veedramon from swinging in. It does have jamming if there's a blue Tamer on the board, such as that Rena, which he's going to play to search the top 3 for a V, and he is going to find a Veedramon to put into his hand, put the other 2 to the bottom of the deck, and that will give the Veedramon jamming, so we can swing over whatever. Also going to give that 6,000 DP because of the Rena effect, and I kind of assumed he was going to. He didn't tap the Arena, but he did indicate, I think, there that he was giving the Veedramon 1,000 bonus DP when it attacks, so I was able to. Would have forced a tie with my blocker as well as swing over the Neutron at security. Anyway, get established as a blocker of his own, and thinking if I want to play this Tyrannomon out of the hand, I'm definitely going to swing in with Dark Tyrannomon, target down the Veedramon. I kind of expected to get blocked here, honestly. But instead we're going to swing through and swing over to Lightmon. So carving up security pretty well so far. Would kind of like to wait and get this Biomon evolved in the battle area so I can utilize my Taiga, but I decide, there's not really a lot of other good ways I have to pass the turn. So I'll just go ahead and pay the full 2 right now. You cannot use Taiga to rest, or to reduce the Evo cost in the raising area, unfortunately. So we're just going to be content to do that and pass it over with 1, and that's pretty fine too. Going to just pay the 1 for the Gorillamon there, and just drops in the Lightmon to put me at 2. So it feels pretty alright. He's got 3 security at the moment, so we're going to be waiting a little bit longer to see what we can do. Got a Flower Cannon, which I'm kind of thinking I might want to use to go ahead and get rid of that blocker, which will let my Tyrannomon swing in for free as well, as right now it does only have 6,000 DP, courtesy of the Babymon, which would tie with the blocker. So we're going to pierce through the Grismon. Unfortunately, that is a Vulcan's Hammer, which will end my turn, passing it over to him with 2 memory. However, we currently have lethal swings right now. We could potentially swing at my Dark Tyrannomon with his Gorillamon, but I would be able to block that with my Quartermon and make that trade should he choose to do that. Could actually potentially go 7,000 with the Gorillamon by virtue of the Rena, in fact. Thinking about playing a Vulcan's Hammer here, gonna decide to instead pass over the turn with a Monzemon. Not really sure what the Vulcan's Hammer might have given him there, but it looks like we do have lethal here, as he did not even try to swing in at my Dark Tyrannomon, so that should pretty much be game, as he does only have 2 security left. Gonna swing over a Vmon there, and then swing in with the jamming Tyrannomon and finish him off with the Quartermon for game. And I think that game pretty much showed off exactly what this deck wants to do. Is your top end is mostly champions. We got 8,000 DP guys out here with piercing, cheaper evolution costs with the Taiga as well, and just providing such a big boost with the Babymon for sure. And finished him up pretty quick, and that's what this deck really tries to do. So as you may recall, for this tournament specifically, there was a 15-card sideboard allowed, and we are both currently in the tank looking at what we want to sideboard in. I believe I decided to side in, I think, all 3 copies of my Terraforce that I had in my sideboard, as UlforceVeedramon, when it starts to swing, it tends to swing over stuff pretty easily, especially with the Arrow Veedramon giving it jamming, and with Rena being able to get jamming even on the first swing. Although, against my deck in specific, the highest DP and security we're going to see is Metal Tyrannomon with 10,000, which Ulforce naturally swings over anyway. So adding in those Terraforces will at least make Ulforce's security checks a little bit more risky, and that's really all I'm looking to do, as this deck does not have a great way to swing over Ulforce, and Ulforce doesn't even necessarily have to, you know, put itself out there until it is ready to kind of go in. Maybe we can target it down with a flower cannon before it even really comes out, but we can't really do anything to disrupt the Tamers from being played. Really just have to hope that, like in that first game, we're able to run him off the board before he can establish all of his pieces that he needs, because Ulforce is ultimately a combo deck. You do need a lot of those Tamers on the board, and then you have to feel the Ulforce itself. So, looks like I am done siding on my side, and I don't think there's too much that I'm going to miss from the stuff I put out. There's definitely a lot of changes I made to this deck after this tournament. Some things definitely I found did not work whatsoever, and should be getting set up here in a moment. Definitely hoping with the release, at least in the future, we're going to get some more Tyrannos to make red Tyrannos a little more viable, and I kind of don't want to see any more green Tyrannos, to be honest with you. But, you know, I definitely want Taiga's, I think, my favorite Tamer still right now that we have seen in the first 2 sets. So hopefully it does become an even better deck. He's going to just start off with a Rena, and doesn't even bother hatching, so it looks like probably no rookie in his opening hand, and wasn't going to be getting one in the main phase either. So at least does already have a Rena on board, though. That is furthering where he needs to go with his game plan for sure. And on my side, I'm going to respond with a Taiga, and then unfortunately no rookie. This deck does play a couple more rookies than most other decks do, as we don't need to play any Megas, so I'm just going to hardcast the Tyrannomon, and that's not too bad. I will have Piercing, which doesn't actually help too much because I'm not evolved from the Babymon, but will at least be able to jam over anything, presuming there's no blocker down, and unfortunately there is a blocker that comes down with that Grismon, so not great. Tyrannomon is now going to be a little bit stymied, but we do top deck the rookie now, so we don't get rookie lock for too long. That's good. And draws into a second Taiga. At least because of the Taiga, I do have access to Hornbuster and Flower Cannon in my hand. I could play that Hornbuster right now, go ahead and swing in, and I'm thinking about doing that to go ahead and mount some pressure. However, I would likely just get attacked over, and I don't really want to do that. So thinking about just putting down a second Taiga that will allow me to Digivolve into the Tyrannomon for free on the next turn. So kind of investing 3 memory now to save 1 memory later doesn't feel great, but there's not a whole lot of other great things we have right now. So I'm going to go ahead and boost that guy by 1,000, which is not going to be super relevant, as he does have jamming thanks to having Arena on board. And there's the 1, maybe 2 of Palamon that we do run in this deck is going to easily get swung over. And this is not looking super great, as we don't have nearly as offensive a start as we did before. But next turn we should be able to get a Tyrannomon out with, it'll actually be 7,000 DP because of the starter Agumon, so that'll actually be able to swing over the blocker. It won't be too bad at all. Certainly have seen plenty of our Jammer Tyrannos right here, as we're now going to be able to rest both of the Taigas to Digivolve into Tyrannomon for free. Pretty cool. Be able to draw into a Corduron, so with a couple of lower DP guys on his side, definitely would be interested in fielding a blocker at some point. And I'm going to go ahead and swing into the Veedramon with the 7,000 DP. Looks like he's going to opt to block and protect it. I got to confirm that I am at 6 or 7,000. I'm actually at 7,000 because of the Agumon now, adding an extra 1,000 on top of Babymon's 2,000 and the native 4,000. So he's instead just going to let it go. And thankfully I'm going to jam over that Ulforce. That would have been very scary if that had been Dark Tyrannomon there, but Tyrannomon going to be pretty safe right here, and I'm thinking I'm likely to end the turn by dropping my Corduron to establish a blocker on board and stop some of the weenie swings from coming in. Like I'm thinking about maybe going for a Hornbuster to boost this Tyrannomon to 7,000, which will allow it to get over that 6,000 DP Grizzlymon on the other side. Either that, or I could just go ahead and put him at 3 with the Corduron, which wouldn't be too bad. Thinking about doing that, and that is what I decided to do, rather than risk the Tyrannomon swing again. Would definitely like to keep this Tyrannomon that has the baby mon underneath it alive, so I will definitely block and protect it if need be. So if that means trading blockers, then I'll certainly trade blockers, although he's more likely, I think, to Digivolve that indeed into an UlforceVeedramon, and that does have 7,000 DP, so we'll see if he wants to swing in with that. Actually just wants to go ahead and establish Ulforce, and that's certainly very fine. I don't have anything that can really approach Ulforce's DP right now. It would require probably my Metal Tyrannomon, honestly. I think Dark Tyrannomon can theoretically get there with some Hornbusters, but would require a lot. So we currently do have 3 memory, which makes me really want to play this Great Tornado. Go ahead and safely lop off 2 security cards. I'm going to go ahead and boost the lower DP Tyrannomon, as I don't need to get over any blockers this turn. And we can just swing in for 2 security with jamming. Pretty cool. See what we get to flip over. And it's going to be a free Rena form as well as a Gabumon. So that's not exactly the best things I would have liked to have seen, but he does have 2 Tamers now. We are sitting at 4 security, and if he can get 1 more Tamer down, that could potentially be lethal, actually, depending on... I suppose I do have a blocker to go ahead and do stuff. So we're going to go and lop off another security. We'll jam over that right there, and I don't know why stuff got reactivated there, but it did. Looks like right now I'm thinking about just kind of going wide and seeing what we can do. I can't really disrupt his board too much anymore. Honestly, what I potentially could have done is use the... Well, no, I was at 0 memory, so I didn't have enough memory to use the flower cannon. And so we are at 4 security right now. Ulforce at the moment can swing a total of 3 times. With the Gabumon able to deliver a finishing swing potentially. He's going to get to restand and gain a memory from Ulforce's effect, as well as jamming, which again is not really going to matter in this deck because stuff is not powerful enough. There's a Cordramon, and he's going to swing it 1 more time, and this last security here, Ulforce is checking in. Of course, it's Terraforce. So, oops. So here that he's gonna pretty much show that's pretty much gonna cap the game for me, as his plan was to Digivolve into Omnimon to end the turn, take out both my Tyrannomons, drop the blocker, and pretty much lock the game up for him from there. But yeah, Terraforce is a rude one like that for sure. That beautiful alternate art, by the way. Alternate custom art, I should say. So Terraforce Security stealing the game and stealing the win, and we'll move on to 2-2. Actually, we have 1 more round in this tournament, which I'll probably also go ahead and upload. There's some fun moment in that. But anyway, get excited for English release, guys. I didn't make a hype video or anything about it, but it's definitely very exciting. Pre-sales going on in November. Go contact your local game stores, all that cool stuff. See you guys for the next one. Later days.